How you doing?
You know, before I got on stage, you said, relax. You're fighting against yourself. You were telling me to in some way, just learn how to move slowly and not make it so hard upon myself. Is that right?
Pretty much.
So I want to begin with an image. If we could pull up the photo number 1. Here is the cover of your book. No words on the cover, just your photo. I'd like you to react to what you see there.
Oh, wow. A reluctant surrender. Yeah.
What did you say?
A reluctant surrender.
A reluctance to surrender.
Yeah. I gave my whole fight, and it's time to give it up. It's time to stop and let go and let God. I did all I can do humanly, and now it's time for me to let God lead the way.
You see, I see something so strong, and I also see some sadness in that.
Sadness is over. There's no more sadness. I have nothing to be sad about. I've done everything I ever wanted to do, everything I ever dreamt of doing. Things I never even dreamt of doing. I even made up, and I done them. So there's nothing to be sad about.
You, in January 2003, you had a tattoo put on your face, and you said, I hated my face. I literally wanted to deface myself. It's in the book.
Yeah.
An amazing comment.
I don't know. I don't think it's that amazing. The things I say, I don't think it's as profound as what many people may think is profound. I just think it's my feelings of what I felt at the particular moment. You know, and I always had a very complex life, and I never had a good psychological opinion about myself, and that's because of my upbringing and my view on my life and my view of my whole barometer as a person. And so I never grasped that love of that particular identity of myself.
What you've told the story, but I'd love our audience to hear a little bit about what this tattoo is.
Well, listen, I was high. I was smoking some weed and drinking. And I went to this gentleman. I said, I want a tattoo on my face. And I wanted the tattoo. What did I want? I wanted hearts or something on my face. I wanted something ridiculous on my face.
And lots of them.
Yeah, lots of them. And he wouldn't do it. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. And he said, I don't do no racist stuff. I don't do no disgusting stuff. I do only art. And he said, come back in a week and I'll look for something. Then he came back and he said, I found some tribal markings. And then I changed a few things and I said, yeah, I'll try that. And then this is what we came with.
And it's a tribal
symbol
from Maori.
Yeah, from the New Zealand indigenous people.
What I find remarkable, Mike, in this memoir, in this confession, as it were, is that it is very much in the style and in the tradition of some of the most extraordinary confessions, memoirs that have been written. I mean, I place this within the context of Saint Augustine and Montaigne and Rousseau and people who laid their heart bare, who just spoke as it is, who told as much truth as they possibly could. And in thinking about that and thinking about the fact that in this you have included so many sides of yourself, the great with the despicable, the strong with the less strong, your whole existence in some way. I was thinking of a line of George Orwell where he says autobiography is only to be trusted when it reveals something disgraceful. A man who gives a good account of himself is probably lying, since any life, when viewed from the inside, is simply a series of defeats.
Well, now that's pretty profound, but I just actually don't believe somebody's going to read this book and say, "Whoa, I'm envious of this guy's life, and I'm jealous of this guy." They're not going to do that if they read this book. I don't think they're going to get that.
What do you hope to inspire then?
I'm not here to inspire anything. I hope I wasn't here under those pretenses. I'm just.
No. I'm not. You're not here under those pretenses. But I'm wondering what this book. I mean, you can't obviously know how people will react to it, but what do you think you want to convey in some way? You say people don't want to live this life, I understand, but you want to convey some kind of sense of what this extremely complex life was about.
I've never understand the concept. How do I express this? I've never expressed this, but how do I start? I was never able to understand the concept of greatness. I just never was able to understand that concept of greatness. And as time went on, and I've gotten older, and I've met many journeys on people that I met on my journey, and people who I've read about on my journey. I read that all greatness, the majority of greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness. The two don't coexist with one another. And I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life, well, I'm saying I'm 47, but late in my life, that all great men are not good men. And then so I tried to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. But what's the concept of good? Being a floor mat? I never understood the concept of good. The concept of good is pretty much then I must be a politician, because politicians are always striking for goodness and always trying to win votes from people. And the only reason that we win votes because they believe that we're good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. And I really have no idea, no clue how do I juggle both of them and be in harmony. And then in all actuality, they don't exist. You have to pick a side.
What are the qualities you admire in people?
Desire. I respect a person who's willing to die for what he truly wants. Even if it's love, even if it's a woman, whatever it is that he truly believes in, and that he believes that it transcends him to that level to demand for love, for instance. I look at love as a command to just rise to your greatest potential, and that's how people should feel. Their objective should be to rise to their best potential in life. If it's to lose 30 pounds, if it's to pass a test, it should be to win a fight, to be admired by people all over the world. It should allow you to rise to your greatest potential, that you look at yourself in the most grandest fashion.
I'd like to take a moment here to say that this book is extraordinarily written, and I'd like to recognize your co-author on this book, Larry Ratzo-Sloman. I don't know where he is. Larry, can you stand? 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 Larry, can you Now, I'd like us to go on a journey, on the journey of your fight. It's a journey of the book. It's a journey of where you started out in New York, in Brooklyn, in Brownsville,
Okay.
and where you ended tonight at the New York Public Library. I'd
We
like
don't have
us
enough
to-
time for that.
No, no, wait, no.
We don't have enough.
No.
We have to actually don't.
We won't go through all of it, I promise you, but we'll go through some highlights. I'd like to start with the photo number 5, if I could. And I'd like to start with your mother, who features importantly in your book. And for you to tell us a little bit about your upbringing in Brownsville and your relation with your mother, and what a day looked like for you when you were 5 and 6 and 7.
Well, wow, this is interesting. My mother's she's a Southern woman from the Virginia area, and this is what I found out later. And I only can remember for a small period of real small increment of my life that I lived in Bedford-Stuyvesant in the early middle 70s. Eventually, we had to move. We were evicted. We had to leave the house. All of our furniture was really politely decorated, the concrete outside. So we had to, me and my brother, I guess we had to sit on the furniture to wait till my mother can get a place for us to stay. And it was just after that, it was pretty much hard times, welfare. When we moved to Brownsville, which was a much more aggressive neighborhood. And it just wasn't good. It was just crime-infested, drug-infested neighborhood, and it was very aggressive. And my mother knew a lot of men. Her and her friends knew a lot of men. It wouldn't be abnormal for me to come from one of my friends' houses, to come from outside a man and a woman is in one of my mother's room, or my mother's in a room with a man and a woman, and we can't go in the room, but we have to stay outside in the kitchen, perhaps, or the living room, and we can't go in the back of the room until they're finished. And that's just how our life's been. And as time went on, I've learned to while people were in the back that I would, and they fell asleep, I would go in their pockets and take their money. And that's just how it's been. That's just what it was all about. I learned how to steal at a young age.
Very young age.
Yeah, very young. I learned how to steal. I learned how to, when my mother's friends were in her house, they were drinking. I learned to go in their house from a fire escape and rob their house while they were downstairs drinking with my mother. And that's just what I learned to do in my life.
And you ended up going to school, but stopping school at a very, very early age.
Well, people used to pick on me in school. Cause,
they bullied you. I mean, you had such an
They bullied me, yeah. But, yeah, they used to bully me in school. And so I never went back to school. So when my mother used to send me to school, I would just be hanging around the school, walking around the school. And if normally we have security guards, the truants officer, they see me, I would take off and run, or hide in a building, abandoned building. But normally, my mother knew I wasn't going to school. Then I met some guys one day, and they pursued to ripping me off, and they realized I didn't have no money. But on lunchtime, I used to go in school and eat lunch, and then leave school again. So, especially when they had meatballs and spaghetti. So, one time these guys, they wanted to rip me off, and I didn't have no money, so they asked me, do you want to fly birds with me? So I said, what do you mean? They said, you want to fly with us? And then I realized that they took me to this abandoned building, but they wanted me to get my milk, climb the fence and throw milk crates over to them. And I didn't understand why they wanted the milk crates, but I did it anyway, because I was kind of scared. And then they took me to this abandoned building. I didn't know what they were going to do to me in that building, So when I went up there, I saw on the roof, they had pigeons. And then after that, I never went to school again. Once I found that I had a pigeon coop, and I could be these guys' flunkies and go to the store for them, and if the birds were horrible, they were in horrible conditions, so the birds would fly for a little while, then they'd land on another roof, and then make me get up and go on that roof, sure, and get the birds off the roof. So I would go to all these roofs that the lady birds flew on and scare the birds off, hoping that they would go back to the roof where the guys were. And I thought that was pretty cool because I felt wanted because at least somebody wanted me to do something for them. So the next day, instead of going back around, walking around school, I went to the pigeon coop. And the guy saw me and he said, "Excuse me, young man." They said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they started throwing bricks at me and while they were on the roof. And I said, hey, I just came around to see you guys need me to do anything for y'all today, like help with the birds or go to the store for you, that's all. But they had thought that I was coming back around to steal their birds. And I had no concept of stealing birds back then. So I just,
The concept developed later.
yeah. I just wanted someplace to hang out instead of walking around the streets all day. And some weird guy be asking me to get in the car and suck their dick or let them suck my dick or something when I was outside just waiting for school to come out or waiting for the lunch to appear. So I would be on the roof with these guys who I didn't know, who might have killed me also, right? So they said, "Yeah, go," and then they throw down someone, "Go to the store and get some cigarettes and get a knee-high soda." After throwing bricks at me, you know, and so I go upstairs, and so the guys go like this. School is over and stuff, but they tell me, "We're going to the center tonight. We're going to go to the after-school center." This is where, I don't know, the poverty-stricken people that live in the projects, they have a center there, a youth center, and they go there and they're playing music. They got a jam in the center, so we're going to go to the center. And so, oh man, I don't believe I'm saying it. So I said, "Okay, I want to go too. Can I go?" And I said, "Okay." He said, "Yeah, sure, you can come." But I'm a young kid. I had no concept of you had to wash. Yeah, and so when I went to the center, I said, "Oh, fuck. I still have the bird shit on me from the, so I still have the bird shit and all the stuff, the tar and stuff from being in the pigeon coop, helping them build the coop. So, you know, we have tar paper, so we have to put the tar paper in the coop, and we're doing our own little home design network on there, right? And so I have tar on me and I have bird done on me. And so when we go back, I never went home and washed. I just had the same clothes I had on. And when I went there, the kids that was on the roof that brought me to the roof, they all had new clothes on. And they all laughed at me. And everybody started laughing at me, and I was scared and embarrassed. I started laughing too. And one of the guys that was on the roof, he had said, "What the fuck, you dirty little motherfucker? What you come around here looking like that? Don't you ever wash?" And he said, "You better meet me at the roof. Meet me tomorrow, motherfucker. Meet me at the roof where the birds where you met me today." Even though that guy wasn't his pigeons, but he was there. He was looking for one of those other guys' brothers. He was older. He said, "Meet me at the roof. You hear me, shorty? Meet me at the fucking pigeon. Where you were today?" And I'm a schmuck. I'm like, "Yo, schmucko." So I met him early in the morning, just like when you're going to school. So I met him at the pigeon coop. And from then on, me and him started robbing houses. He taught me how to rob houses.
He taught you how to pick locks.
Well, that too, but he taught me how to rob the houses. And because I was younger than him, so he would tell me to ring the doorbell, knock on the door. And if someone comes over, say you're looking for this guy, he'll give me a Jewish name or something. He'll give me some name. He just knew what to say, the right stuff and what neighborhoods. And I didn't know. And then if I found out nobody was there, he would pick the locks. He would have the kid pick the locks. And we would go in there, we would find money, guns, jewelry. It was just, wow. It was just such a rush being in somebody's house and you see that luxury there and it's yours. And he didn't give me much money, but he bought me a lot of nice-looking clothes. And he said, "You go back to the center looking like this. Don't forget, you hear me, motherfucker? You go looking like this." And then I went to that center, and then it was a whole different, it was totally different.
You were appreciated differently.
Yes. Everybody wanted to be my friend. Everybody, at the time I was young, but at the time we had, I can't even pronounce, digital. It's a digital, right? The digital watch. Remember that stuff? We had digital watches and long jean watches. And I was just a young little kid. I must have been 10. I might not have even been 10, but I remember I had one watch. I had a long jean watch. I'll never forget. It was a gold watch with one diamond, and I had the digital watch. But I liked the digital watch because I was a kid, and I liked to see the numbers light up. Kick you, kick you, kick you. But I couldn't even tell time back then, but I had the watches and stuff.
It still makes you laugh.
Yeah. And I was just in my neighborhood. That's what was about. But it depends on how you look. You know, always and they used to call me Dirty Mike, Dirty Ike, and it wasn't because I had bad clothes. I always had the best clothes, but I always was on the pigeon coop, and I always got them dirty and tall, and I would never change my clothes and wear. I would never do that. I would never change my clothes to put on some raggedy clothes and be seen in raggedy clothes because I've been traumatized from that experience when I went to the daycare center, after school center. So I would always just wear my nice clothes in the pigeon coop, and they would always get dirty, and I would just go home and change in some new nice clothes. You know, just till this day I'm the same way. I always make sure that I have nice clothes on, no matter wherever I go. If I'm playing with pigeons, if I'm playing soccer, if I'm taking out the garbage, and it's just it's just always been a scar on me since them guys just humiliated me that day.
I want to go from Brownsville to perhaps what was one of the most important experiences for you, meeting Castamato and what that meant. I'd like us to see photo number 2 if we could. You say about him, there wasn't a happy muscle in his face.
No, this is an awesome man. Listen, this guy only he reminds me of Edmond Dante from the Count of Monte Cristo. This guy was always, till the day he died, he's always planning his revenge and his comeback for the people that put him in self-exile from boxing. These guys are dead, and he's still planning revenge on these guys. And he's planning revenge on the guys who worked for this guy, but didn't like the guy anyway either. But he wants to go after them too, just because they worked for him, you know. But they didn't. You know, it was just crazy. They didn't have nothing against us, but Cuss hated those people just because they knew him in any kind of capacity, and he always planned for his great comeback in boxing.
Channel for me, Cuss. Tell me. I mean, you write in the book that among my very favorite passages are those passages where you channel Cuss. You tell us what he said to you and the incredible impact he had on you. In some way, he's not only a mentor, but he's also nearly a medium.
I never in my whole listen. This is really interesting.
Number 3. What is he saying to you?
He's telling me what this guy always tells me. He says, I'm allowing my mind to get the better of me. Your mind, you don't have your mind on your work. You're not being disciplined. He really knew that. He always believed that his mind could heal anything. He believed if he had cancer, his mind could heal cancer. He was a strong believer that your body only purpose was to carry your brain. And, you know, he was just amazing, man.
Tell me more. Tell me more, because he had such a huge impact on you. He told you things early on that nobody had told you before, and he believed in you in a way that nobody had paid attention to you before. You went up to his gym, he heard you walking up, he saw in you something quite immediately.
Wow, I can't say that because I might get emotional, and I don't want to.
He taught you some techniques, which I'd like you to demonstrate slightly.
No, I don't.
The peekaboo. I mean, I was trying to understand what that all meant.
Well, the peekaboo is a really.
I don't know if he's showing you that.
It was really a cruel style of boxing. It basically kept both your hands up, and then basically you twist at your waist and you move, and you come forward, make the guy miss, you're counter punching, and it was pretty much. It's really pretty much, he really discovered it from karate. He watched karate people do it and just move, get to one position and punch with everything you got with bad and mean, ferocious intention. And most of his fighting was mostly psychologically. He believed the physical actuality of boxing was only 10% when the mind was 90%. He always believed in improving yourself and strengthening your mind. And you really couldn't do that just by talk. You had to do it by action and practice.
But one of the things he did with you was talk to you.
Every
day,
for
hours, you would take these walks. I mean, you describe them. Every day you would walk and walk and walk and talk, and he would just repeat and repeat.
He would really tell me what I should be doing. I should be always think about improving myself. Have me say day by day, and everywhere I would get better, better, and better. And he really, I never had, this is really interesting. When I met Cuz, even though I was a street kid and I would come with like a tough kid, I never had an ego. I was never really jealous of anybody. I never really thought much of myself. But when I met Cuz and I started talking to Cuz, he made me believe that I was a god. He made me believe that, for instance, Cuz would say this. Now, to Cuz would say, now, you hear this? Because Cuz had a really, he had this really megalomaniac ego. He said, let me tell you something. You, all the prophets, all the gods you ever know about, if they had a son, their son couldn't beat my fighter. Know why? Because he's my fighter.
But he also taught you he built that ego, but he also taught you how to be mean. He believed, there's a quotation here in the book where you say, Cus wanted the meanest fighter that God ever created, someone who scared the life out of people before they even entered the ring. He trained me to be totally ferocious in the ring and out.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was. That's what I was.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's why he taught you how to completely be an animal in the ring. And build you in that way.
No, but an animal, but a sophisticated animal, a smart animal, the lion and the fox. You know what I mean? I could beat the vicious guys, and I got outsmart the slicksters. So I was pretty much didactyl in that apartment, pretty much. But what really was the turning point is that there was nobody that could reach the core like Cus could. No one could inspire me. I don't know.
You mentioned that in some way he was even more than a father to you, a father you didn't have, but he served in some way as the back. I think at some point you say he was my backbone.
He was more than that. He wouldn't let no one say anything negative about me. At any fight, if someone said something negative about me, he was the old man, he would attack them.
Literally?
Yeah, physically. He wouldn't let nobody allow any negativity to even seep through my psychic. Everything was that I'm invincible, I'm a savage, I'm ferocious, and the smartest savage. I don't even think that way anymore.
He also had you read a lot.
Yeah. He always had me read mostly books about war, Claude von Clausewitz. Yeah, this guy, he was a pretty interesting guy. He read Nietzsche. And this is why Cus read all those books. Cus was pretty much of an intellect, but he was an intellectual and philosopher about war. And he thought fighting was a form of war, and he thought fighting was, Cus really thought he was like born 2,000 years too early. He should have been a Roman gladiator or something, because he believed fighting was your opponent's surrender, his total destruction. And he didn't think of it as, even though he said it was savage and ferociously, you had to do it in such a relaxed and calm state, without any emotions. And I'm totally emotional guy all over the place, so that thing just didn't work out. But that's what he was all about, A really scientific way of destroying people. He enjoyed hurting the opponent. He wants them to never have a chance to believe they can beat you.
But you know, hurting the opponent, and this is a very important part of what you describe in the book, is in Undisputed Truth. You describe the fact also that hurting the opponent was co-substantial to boxing and may now be leaving it in some way.
Well, no, because in doing that, and there's a quote in Machiavelli, The Prince, and when they say, after you defeat the king and you cut off his head, you be audacious and you say what you're going to do to the next ruler and the next prince that you're going to conquer, and that allows them to be intimidated. It speaks volume.
You know, one of the people I've interviewed here a few times who I know fairly well is Werner Herzog, the German filmmaker.
Oh, that's my buddy.
He loves you. And Werner said, you know, you ask him a question from me. You ask him, why is he interested in all these Frankish kings? Why is he actually asked me to ask the audience, who in the audience knows about Pepin the Short? Well, you know about Pepin the Short.
Oh, absolutely.
And he said, you know, Mike Tyson will know who Pepin the Short is. He will know about Clovis. He will know about the Frankish kings. Why does this matter to you? And he asked me to ask you this in this way. Where does that curiosity for Pepin the Short come from?
I don't know. It all comes from my insecurity of being poor and not having nothing, being insecure and being, yeah, that's what it is, obscure. I never wanted to be obscure. I was born in obscurity, and I never wanted to deal with that again. I never wanted to be that. And they came from obscurity. Clovis came from obscurity from only one perspective. He was a king at 15 years old when his father died, but they were just, they were small kings. His father was what? Childeric, and his father was Merovich, the founder of the Merovingian dynasty. But they were really nothing because Attila the Hun was terrorizing the whole territory. He was terrorizing the Romans, he was terrorizing the Visigoths, he was terrorizing the Franks, the Vandals. Everybody was in mortal fear of him. And then Aetius, a statesman from Rome, decided that he's going to get all the German tribes together and we're going to vanquish Attila the Hun. And then he did. And in the process of doing it, the Roman kingdom pretty much fell to pieces. And after Attila the Hun died, then the Franks and the German tribes, you know, they reigned rabbit on the whole Mediterranean world. And that's why most of the guys, most of the saints are German. You know, when we read about the Germans, and it was Pepin the Short. I believe Pepin from Austria, the first Pepin, and then it was St. Arnold. He became St. Arnold, but his real name is Anuf. He's given him Pepin his daughter, and then Pepin married his daughter, then sent her to a monastery, and then from then on they took over. I think they vanquished the last king of the Merovingians. I believe it was Clovis III, and then after that the Carlogans took over. And from Pepin had this. What did Pepin have? He had a son that was called Martel. And Karl Martell's, he was an illegitimate son, and then after Pepin died, Pepin I died, his wife took Martel and put him in prison. But Martel was the strongest out of all of his half-brothers. So the guards in prison, they let him out. He built an army, and then he conquered all his brothers. And then he became Karl Martel. Karl Martel meaning the hammer in German. And then he became a warrior. But they're really all farmers. And then the Arabs came into power. And the Arabs pretty much conquered the whole part of Europe, definitely France. And then they came to a place, I believe it was Tours in 735. And then Karl Martel, he built up a tribe and he made an army. And then he conquered all the Arabs and he saved Christendom, because without that victim, we would all be speaking Arab right now. All this world would be, most of the world, especially this part of the world and all of Europe, have been Arab ruled.
Mike, how do you know all this shit? I mean, how did you?
This is just what I do. I love war. I love the act of war. I love the players in war. I love the philosophy of war.
So reading all of these kinds of books, and we just before coming down here today, I took you to the rare book room to see a first edition of Machiavelli. I must say, I've really taken my guests to see the special collections and seen them as deeply curious as you were seeing this work. It really means something to you to see these books. You said to me when we left the special collections, you said, you know, the most stolen items in the world are books.
Yeah, they're our most priceless possessions. Because if you think about it, you know, a room without a book is like a body without a soul. You know, we have to, it's the only way that we can connect the future with the past. Without that, there's no way that we can no way we can know about the future, or know about particularly the past or the present, you know, because when you think about history, the value of history is not necessarily scientific but moral. By liberating our minds and, you know, deepening our sympathies and fortifying our will, we can control pretty much. History allows us to control not society but ourselves, which is a much more important thing to do. You know what I mean? And it would allow us to pretty much meet the future more so than foretell it. And for that reason alone, that we always have to, in order to predict the future, we have to always look through the past, because very rarely does time not repeat itself, and it always will repeat itself. I've heard a quote before in the book that we would be fools to think historically that the past is us in funny clothes, but the past is us in funny clothes. And that's truly what it is. That's somebody that really said a really profound statement, but he misquoted what he was saying. He must have been saying it backwards, because that's really what the past was. It's just us in funny clothes in different times. That's really what it is.
But you were saying, you know, how important it is to learn history, because in some way it dictates it can help our behavior. It didn't help yours.
No. I've lived. I lived just a life just like a lot of people. It may have been a long time. Ben-Hur had a life like. Remember we saw that movie Ben-Hur? You know what I mean? He was a wealthy man. He became a slave. He became a great conqueror as far as athletics were concerned. He became a star. He became the best celebrity, and I believe wherever it was, Octavia, whatever city they took him to, he rescued that. He rescued the general of that ship, and after all that, he still couldn't save his family. They put him with the leopards, and his main objective, he went back and he got his family from the leopards, his sister and his mother. And then again, he came back. He may not have been famous again, but he got his family, and that was his success. We look at success, myself, you know, it's different levels of success. Some people's success is not using drugs, not drinking anymore. Some people's success is making $1 million. Some other people's success is making $1 billion. Some people's success is not going to prison no more. And we have totally different levels of success.
I'd like to just stay one more moment on your early years and look at, if we could look at the photo number 4. When was this taken?
I don't know, 1983, 82.
How old were you?
16, perhaps.
Incredible.
You see, I have that part in my hair. I remember looking at all the old fighters. They always had wavy hair, and they had the part in their hair like in the 1910 and the 20s. I wanted to emulate them. It was the only way. I couldn't make it as Mike Tyson, tough guy from Brownsville, Brooklyn. I had to look at myself totally greater than I actually was, or whatever I dreamt it was. It was always very fictional who I believed I was.
And this was after 2 years or 3 years with Cuss?
Probably 3 years. When I was 12 years old, I looked just like I look now. I haven't grown any, really. I look the same as I look now when I was 12 years old. This is how I look. Everybody thought I was going to be tall, but I stayed the same size.
It's just such an incredible picture. Are you smiling, do you think?
No, I'm gritting. I'm looking. I'm trying to growl. I'm growling.
What I'd like us to do now is to have a little master class with you.
Uh-oh.
We're going to watch a few fights.
Okay.
And we're going to watch them, I'd like to explain, we're going to watch them without sound. And I don't know exactly what I'm seeing, but I'd like you to tell us what
Okay.
you see.
Oh.
And so no. Are you covering up? No. This is not going to be.
Hey, I don't even know. I don't even watch this stuff. I try so deeply to avoid my past and boxing.
Well, you know
I
what?
gotta watch
It's
this. Oh,
actually
God.
we're going to watch other boxers.
Great. All right. Great.
We'll watch maybe one with you because I think
Okay.
it would be a missed opportunity to have you here and not watch one with you.
Okay.
But we're going to begin because also, what I was mentioning to you about Herzog and all the history you loved. You loved the history of boxing. You loved meeting
Yes.
Max Schmeling.
Yes.
You speak about in that page where you speak about meeting Max Schmeling up in Harlem, and it's just
No,
fantastic.
I met Max Schmeling in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas.
Yes.
Who am I confusing with? Was it Joe Louis?
You're confusing me with the story that Max Schmeling, when he heard Joe Louis was broken doing bad, he
You're right.
left from Germany and
No,
came
and
to Harlem.
you're absolutely right.
And
Max Schmeling went
yeah.
up to Harlem, but you loved meeting all these old fighters.
Absolutely.
But you also loved reading the history of boxing.
Yes, because I just wanted to be the best in what I did, so I wanted to know the history of it. I wanted to know the origin of it.
Do you feel that boxers are doing that now, today?
Well, no, they can't. No, well, at least I don't know. I don't want to be ignorant and say I'm the only guy that ever did this, and it's only about me. I would like to believe that, though, but I'm not going to be. I don't want to say that.
All right. Let's look at this Sugar Ray Leonard Robert Duran fight. It's round 12, June 20th, 1918.
Yeah, this is the moment I knew I wanted to be a fighter. Watching two masters fight. Whoa.
What's happening?
There's two fighters setting up, waiting for a moment right now. Any moment he's ready to land a punch, but his head moves. As soon as he thinks he's there, then he moves his head. But then watch this guy, he's getting ready to punch it with a dazzling combination. But he can't hit. Both guys are fighting. It's almost like it's the fighting stage is choreographed. They can't hit each other. But they're both punching. Very tight to the 12th round. I didn't really know if I was going to be a fighter or not, but after watching these guys, I knew. They were fighting. They fought 15 rounds, and it was a war, but none of them had a mark on their face. But it was a hard fight, but nobody had a mark on their face. They're master technicians,
And he's your favorite fighter.
Duran, yes. Yes.
You actually say in the book that most people assume that it's Ali, but it's really Duran for you. Why?
Wow. He was a street fighter like me.
You identified with
Yeah,
him.
he was cruel and mean. I never looked at I respected Ali and I worshiped Ali, but he was very tall and very handsome. I was very short and not so handsome, and I wasn't good looking. And he was very articulate, and I spoke with a lisp. And I didn't really I didn't relate to two besides we were black. Ali was a middle-class kid here. The mother and father that both worked. My mother and father was in the sex industry. So and Roberta Duran's mother was pretty much, out there as well. And so I related to that. And I didn't have to change. I didn't have to change my diction. I didn't have to learn how to talk polite. I didn't have to be nice. I didn't have to have a proper linguistic skill. And so if he could be accepted and be worshipped that way, I thought I would be able to as well.
And he made it click for you. It was him.
No, he was just
who made
he was
you
just
want
a
to
master
become
fighter. After that fight, he pushed Lenny. He went to some other guy and he told him to suck his balls. He is and I just drove me nuts. I said, "Yeah, that's my man." But then you have to understand, I'm only 14 years old when these guys fought. This is 1980, so I'm 14 years old, and I just thought that was the most remarkable person in the world. A lot of people, when they hear me talk about these events in my life, they can imagine I'm 12 years old. They always think I'm older.
No, this is what is amazing. It's the first 150 pages of the book. You realize that when you've arrived there, you are only 15 or 16 years old, and you've lived 100 lives, it feels like. The intensity and extremity of the life is so extraordinary. One feels that it's nearly incredible that you're so young.
I don't know why. I was born with great perception. If it came from my street life, from being locked up for stealing and facing unbelievable odds as a young kid, I had great perception. And once I watched these guys fight, I just knew it was a matter of time, but I knew my time would soon come.
And you also had a perception that your life would not last.
No, but I knew I would obtain my goal before it existed. I knew that. I knew I would be champ of the world before I died. I knew I wasn't going to die before I became champ. Dying is just as glorious as living when you really think about it, because you couldn't have a life if you didn't have death, and you couldn't have death without life. So how could death be less glorious than life? They're both intertwined with one another.
We'll see another clip number 3. It's clip number 2. Sorry, it's the fight of Ali versus Sonny Liston. It's round number 3.
This is a great fight, because this fight, Ali was he was a young man, and believe it or not, before Ali came on the scene, this guy was a monster. This guy was he was a juggernaut. He didn't even have to hit the guy. Only thing he had to do was to walk in a circle around him until they dropped dead of a heart attack. And he was just listen, this is a bad man. This man right here is really a bad man, inside the ring and out. This guy terrorizes cities by himself. He goes, police try to question him. He knocks them out. He breaks their jaw. He puts them in comas. This is the man. This is a guy that you read about in fables and stuff. This is a real bad man right here, inside the ring and out. And because Muhammad Ali, you have to only talk to guys that within this era and know about fighting. Ali has superseded this guy so bad that people forgot about him. But before Ali came on the scene, this guy did, he made boxing look so easy. He made it look very easy. This is the Mike Tyson of the 60s and late 50s right here. You can never, Ali, the reason why Ali beat these guys, because Ali, believe it or not.
Yeah, I was wondering, what did he have that
Ali had the will to win like nobody that ever lived in boxing.
He had the what?
The will to win. We look at Ali, and when you think about it, right, you see this guy, Ali. Ali is, in all actuality, he really passes more as a male model than he is a fighter, when you think about it. No, really. If you just look at Ali, he's more of a male model than he is a fighter, but he's a ferocious animal. He's almost like, He's like a ferocious, savage, saber-toothed tiger with a very pretty face. And that's what we don't see. That's what we just don't see that in these kind of people, and that's what he was. He was just his pain threshold was just out of this world. And he was just the quintessential prototype of the great fighter. And he did everything wrong. He pulled back. He never punched to the body. And he just, he wore people down.
Explain this to me.
Ali never threw a body punch in his career.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean.
He never hit anybody in the chat in their career.
I was exactly okay.
But listen, Ali never punched to the body, hit anybody in his whole career to the body. And Ali just, Ali believed that he was truly a god and nobody on this planet could beat him. And how dare you even think that you could beat me?
So he came on stage with that.
Everything that he believed, he projected to his opponent. Now when you really look at how does Ali beat George Foreman? How does Ali beat Sonny Liston? How do you beat these guys? How did he even beat Joe Frazier, fighting the way he fights? He beat them because he refused to lose. You know what I mean? He was just a remarkable human being.
And this is, in some way, you and Ali have something in common there through Castamato, because Castamato also taught you this will to destroy and to win at any cost.
Well, Ali wasn't a destroyer. Ali was more of a manipulator. He made you believe that you couldn't beat him.
How did he do that?
Because he told you couldn't. He made you believe. You look at this guy, you see these big monsters, they landing these heavy punches on this guy, and he's fighting them back. And Ali will hit you. You hit Ali with you hit him with this building, and he said, "That's all you have? Your sister hits harder than that." And he talks really bad about you in the clinches, Ali. Ali really, things that I'm not really permitted to say in the audience, he would really talk bad about you in the clinches. And
it's okay, you can.
No, I prefer not to. But he's just a remarkable man, and I don't think we'll ever see a man like him again. And he's just, incredible.
But
incredible.
when you say he spoke, he did it while he was fighting.
Oh, absolutely. But it was more than what he took. It's what he believed and what he accomplished and how he beat the guy. He beat you with his punches. But he's just, we're never going to see a man like him again. Not in the ring. No, never.
Well, with that in mind, I think we should maybe see one more Ali fight.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, let's. Clip number 3, Muhammad Ali versus Joe
Wow.
Frazier.
This is Ali fighting Joe Frazier in 1971. Ali's been
round 11.
He's round 11. He's been exiled for 3.5 years. Joe Frazier's been very active. Ali has only fought 3 fights in 3.5 years, and he's fighting one of the roughest fighters in the history of boxing. A really perpetual motion. Don't give you a moment's rest. He's constantly on you, throwing hard hydrogen bombs. Look at him. He never stops. He never stops. And don't get me wrong. Joe Frazier went to the hospital because Ali put a real, old-fashioned ass whooping on him. But listen, he never stopped. He never stopped. He has never stopped. He was perpetual motion. Both of these guys, him, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, and Muhammad Ali, their birthdays only a few days apart. They're all Capricorn, the biggest ego in the astrological signs. Capricorns never admit to their wrongs and stuff. They're always right.
What's happening here? I mean,
he's talking.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking. He's talking. But as I was saying earlier, what make great fights, right? Joe Frazier despises him. Joe Frazier hates his guts. You know what I mean? And that's what brings out the best of Joe Frazier, because he really despises Ali. He thinks Ali is pretty because he is. He thinks Ali thinks he's better than him because he does. And look at Ali fighting back. But Joe Frazier, he's taking 7 punches to land 1. But when he landed, he sure lands it. Look at him. Oh, he's still hurt. This man is out on his foot. But look, whoa, down he almost went. Look at him. His jaw is fractured. Look inside. Look at boom. Look at Ali's right jaw. It's swollen like a golf ball's in there. But he's still fighting. Look at him. He's a little guy, but yeah, I hear you. He's a little guy, but he's an animal. Oh, man. He never stops coming. He never comes. He makes all your causes, everything you believe. I'm fighting for my mother. I'm fighting for my brother who's dying for cancer. He makes all your causes a fucking lie. This is one of the greatest fights in the history of the world. This is the first time two men have made $2.5 million for a fight. Both of these guys. This is 1971, and that was a lot of money back then. You know, I didn't know anything about money back then, but I'm sure Paulie Herman's around here, and $2.5 million, that was a lot of money back in 71, right, Paulie? Yeah, okay. That was a lot of money.
It feels like a lot of money to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, listen, I wouldn't turn it down now either. Don't get me wrong.
I can say we have that in common. Now, let's look at a couple more clips. Clip number 4, this is a fight you're in.
Oh, no.
No, I'm sorry, we have to.
Okay.
Reggie Gross, June
Yeah.
13th.
Yeah, Reggie Gross. Reggie Gross is a real tough guy. He's a spoiler. He beat a lot of undefeated fighters. And everybody thought he was going to go at least 10 rounds with me and give me a tough fight. But this was in Madison Square Garden.
Do you recognize Cuss's hand there?
I just remember what Cuss taught me. I don't see nobody's hand. I just know I have to move my hand. I have to be very elusive. And I know I want to hurt him desperately. I want to dismantle him. When this is over, everybody's going to know my name. And the people that I fight after him, they're going to fear me. My whole objective was Cuss was an interesting guy. He had the concept of fear down to a science. And that's pretty much how my reign consists of just fear. And on occasion, some guys like him, who's a tough guy, they would try to fight back. And that would just allow me to excel at an extremely high level. Hey, check this out. Watch his explosion and punches. Watch him. He's going to do a barrage of punches right now. He's going to throw a real beautiful combination at me, around 10 punches. Check it out. Watch this. Watch my head.
I mean, does it feel that way? I mean, it felt like a cosmic release here. I mean, everybody just.
No,
I mean, what is it? You know, I feel like asking you, what does it feel like to both be the recipient and to give these punches? I mean, is there any? I mean, it's an experience which I don't think I'll ever have. But you know.
That's funny you say that because most people, what I do for a living, they avoid their whole entire life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to make Cuss proud. That was my whole existence for fighting. I wanted to make him proud. I never knew what it was like to have a fighter. A father. So now I understand what some kids must feel when they can't make their fathers happy. Because he would do anything for me. I was just, I don't think that way now. I was just disappointed that I didn't kill them back then. That was just my main objective because I wanted to succeed so bad, and I was failed, and the fear of not succeeding was worse than dying. So I just wanted to make sure they never got up.
I mean, and Cuss had it down to a science. I mean, a science of hurting, of maiming.
Well, he allowed them to hurt themselves. For instance, I was a kid in the amateur tournament, and somebody had came over to me and said, that was I knocked out a guy quick, and he said, wow, that was a wonderful fight. I must have been 14, and I shook the guy's fucking hand. And I was, thank you, sir. Thank you, right? And Cuss came over to me, and he walked, and he said, do you know him? I said, no, because he's just a nice guy. He congratulated me on my knockout. And he said, what do you mean, nice guy? Explain to me. What do you mean? You like him? You think he's good looking or something? What do you mean, nice guy? Tell me what nice guy mean. What do you mean by nice guy? And then I went in the show, and he said that because I know I did something wrong. I did something wrong.
And what did you do wrong?
I talked to somebody. I was kind to somebody. I was nice. And he talked to the guy, and he turned to the guy, and he said, don't you ever talk to my fighter again. Do you hear what I'm saying? You do not know my fighter. Don't you ever talk to him again. If you want to ask him a question, you ask me. If you want to know anything about him, you ask me. If I ever see you go next to my fighter again, you have a problem. And then I realized not to ever talk to somebody. By proceeding asking me to shake my hand. Try to shake my hand right now. Let's try to do it. Go through the procedure. Go through the procedures. Just go through the procedures. No, it's been like this. Go like this. Hey, congratulations, good fight.
Oh, I see. You asked me no,
yes.
Right.
Go ahead. And
I think I won't do it one more time.
That was the beginning of that whole intimidating thing. I was a little kid, and I realized
you don't talk.
Don't talk to them. Just look at them like you want to kill them. And I know that just sounds so bizarre now because we're all older now, but can you imagine being 14 and everybody that's over 200 pounds, you could be a lawyer. You never had a fight in your life, I'm sizing you up. And that's just how it's always been. I was always in a constant state of war with Cuss. You know what I mean? There's always intimidation, always sizing people up, because that's what Cuss was.
Because you also didn't trust people.
Yeah, Cuss never trusted anybody because, of course, he had a fighter, Floyd Patterson. And
Who
Floyd,
left him.
Yeah, but Floyd's a very religious guy, and he trained Floyd since he was a little kid. And Floyd was a Catholic. And it was this, in the 50s, there was this lawyer, very influential lawyer named Roy Cohen. And Roy Cohen had got some, a cardinal at the particular time to meet Cuss. And the cardinal told Floyd that Cuss was a bad Catholic. And he left Cuss, and Cuss was the kind of guy that went to burn candles in church. He never went to church again after that. And that's just what it was. He's always believed somebody was going to betray you. So he said, you're going to betray me too. You're going to go away. You're supposed to go off your money. You're going to leave me. And at that time, I didn't know what he was talking about because my whole identity, my whole life was just to be here with him. And I have a family now. And I couldn't conceive of it, believing these people, Cuss. And that was his whole dream, believing that everybody he invested the most time in him, disappointed him the most.
But Cuss also died. How old were you when he died?
Well, 19 years old.
You were 19 years old. Do you feel that he left an unfinished job?
Absolutely. But I don't know. Who am I? I'm just a human being.
But I don't mean as a fighter. I mean also, in a way, he was beyond good and evil. He didn't teach you, as a mentor might teach you also, what it meant to be good.
Hey, I was good. I was beating everybody. That's good. In my world and his world, that's our world. Our world was winning and beating people and looking spectacular doing it. It wasn't about anything. Our whole life wasn't about making money. It wasn't about being rich. It was about
being
glory.
the best.
Yes, and being the best. And nobody on the planet could beat us. That was everything. My whole life, he said, best fight in the world, best fight in the world. There's nobody on the planet that could beat me. I could beat anybody on the planet in a fair fight, and that's what I always believed. I never even think about that now, but just to be in that state of mind, I could beat anybody. One day I said this, and I'm so happy that I don't think that way anymore. I was having an interview, and I started thinking about Cuss, because Cuss is pretty, arrogant, and Cuss said, and I said one of Cuss words, I was being interviewed, and I said, how many people in this planet? I said, what, around 5 billion people, 6 billion? I said, I could beat every one of them in a fair fight. And that's what I believed at the time. But it sounds so good to say that. And I can't believe I had the audacity to say that. But
Cuss put you on one thing you said to me that struck me before we spoke tonight. You said Cuss put you on a pedestal and then cut you down.
Oh, absolutely. I remember I was a young kid and I was getting put on the front cover of maybe Ring magazine at the time, a big-time magazine it was. Could have been Sports Illustrated, but one of these magazines, I got put on the magazine, and there was a bunch of cameras around there, and I was feeling myself. I was smiling, laughing with the guys like I was a big shot. And then right after that, Cuss said, grab the broom and mop and sweep, clean the gym. And whoa. And that's just what I had to do. You know, I just knew my place with him. I just knew my place, you know. Like things I would say with other people, I would never say with him. He would only have to call me one time and I would be there. It was never like, hey, be there in a minute.
But fame, which came so strongly afterwards, do you think it messed with your life?
Oh, messed with my life? Of course it did. I was never accustomed to handling that type of pressure.
But he didn't prepare you for that.
Oh, yes, he did. I just didn't listen. Oh, he prepared me for all that stuff. He told, look, I was prepared for all that stuff when I was 16 years old. I was prepared for all that stuff.
You didn't listen.
Cuss was like Nostradamus when it came to that stuff. He had experienced it before. And I was prepared, but yes, I didn't want to listen. I thought I was special. I thought everybody else it could happen to, but not me. And that's what most guys think. It's not going to happen to me. How could it have to happen to me? I made more money than him in one fight than he did in his whole 25 years of fighting. How could that happen to me? I must be ordained by God. I must be
Alexander the Great.
Yeah,
that might be.
I must be yeah, I did think that.
I know.
I did think that. I think I must be a descendant of the great warriors of old, all the gods of war, because I'm winning with the most simplest of ease. How could these guys even dare fight me? You know, but it was really all about Cuss, and I forgot that. You know, I had a great teacher. You know, and not necessarily that I was a great fighter. I never think in my deep heart, I never think that I was a great fighter. I don't think I was a great fighter.
You didn't?
No.
Really?
No. But I'm an incredible student. I'm an astronomical student that I could project greatness without being great. And that's why I succeeded so much. I would quote books, I would quote stuff from great warriors, Pericles and all that stuff, and people would think that is incredible, you know? But it wasn't. It was just all illusions.
Show?
Yeah, and that's what comes with being a great entertainer. It's all about illusions. Listen, I'm going to beat 6,000 people, 6 billion people in a fair fight. Come on. And
as you said, it sounds good.
But it can be believed, but it doesn't necessarily have to be true. And I can project that belief in the minds of others.
As we slowly close, I still want to see at least one or two more fights.
No.
November 22nd, 1986. I know we saw that one, forgive me. November 1996, a very famous fight. Clip number 7.
And what year is this?
1996.
Okay.
November 1996, it's round 10. This is where you...
Is this the first fight or the second fight?
First.
All right.
Say something.
This guy beat the shit out of me. Listen, right? I was fighting this guy, and I had just won 2 other championships right before I fought him. And I had watched this guy, Bobby Stew, who was just a buffed up heavyweight. This Irish guy beat the shit out of Vander, and Vander was just lucky enough to stop him on cuts. So I had won 2 titles, and I was up in my room smoking a bunch of blunts and drinking some champagne. And of course, you know, I had all my little prostitute girlfriends with me as well, right? And so I watched this fight, and I said, listen, oh, this is so magnificent punch right here. But I was saying to myself, I'm not even going to train for this guy. Fuck him, right? But my friend Zip said, no, Mike, you got to train. I said, come on, man, you think I got to train for this guy? And as you see, this is what happened.
What's going through your mind at that moment when you've lost?
I'm saying, oh shit. I'm saying, okay, he got this one. I'll get him back again.
So is boxing for you really about revenge?
No, it's just that, you know, I never take my losses personal, you know, and that's very difficult for athletes of any field to do. I've learned that from Cuss. That's why he's been such a great mentor to me. You know how it's just not to be taken personal because it would drive you nuts. And I just knew that this is why, in all due respect, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious or sure, but this is why I'm successful now after boxing, because I didn't take it personal. I'm not trying to even the score. Evander's still fighting. He's still trying to even the score. I'm not trying to even the score. I'm moving on to other places which are probably dark and places I've never been before, but I'm not afraid to go there. I'm not afraid to lose in life. I'm not afraid to do anything. I won't do anything. Matter of fact, I won't do anything. Matter of fact, like my show, there's nothing I would do unless I have a possibility of being humiliated. If I can't be humiliated, if I fail, I don't want to do it. Because only by doing that, I would rise to my highest potential with the fact that I might be humiliated, and I don't want that to happen. But when it does happen, then I will truly be humiliated. Because when I succeed, I truly succeed. And that's why I'm here with you.
I'm going to have you read a couple of passages.
Oh, no, that's going to be like being at a spelling bee for me.
Okay. You know what? How about I read one and you read one?
Okay.
Okay. I want to make sure that people understand that I'm reading you.
Okay.
Many of these words will be new to me. A question.
I truly appreciate all you guys coming out here, because, man, really appreciate this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the spirit of what you just said, you write in the book, my baseline normal is to destroy myself, and when I don't do that, I think I should get rewarded. I'm the quintessential addict. I'm a piece of shit who thinks that the world revolves around them. I have the lowest self-esteem in the world, but the biggest ego God could ever create. Have you remained sober since last summer?
No way. God damn. What fun would that be if you don't, you know, of course relapse is a part of recovery, and if you don't relapse, you don't recover. Right. And of course I relapse, you know.
Does it make sense, before we read these passages, for you to have a happy ending?
I don't know about that. We're dealing with life on life terms.
What does that mean?
It's out of my control, truly. You know, it's out of my control. I say, well, I'm responsible now. I have to be present for my family and my children. But when when that feeling comes, you know, you have no control over it. I might want to die tomorrow, you know, and that's just what it is. And that's how my mind works. Maybe something may happen. I might get into an argument with my wife. Something might happen. I might want to die tomorrow, and I might want to live but I might have killed myself already. So I don't know how that goes. You know,
And you want to die because there's been enough already.
no, maybe I want to die because I want to know what it's like to die. I want to know if it's just dark, like when you have one of those dead sleeps and you wake up and you wouldn't know if you were dead or not if you didn't wake up. So I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I just know right now I want to live and experience life, and I don't know what life has in store for me, but I'm not afraid to find out. But I'm not afraid of dying either.
You know, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to read just a little bit of that passage because it's a long one. It's in the epilogue. It's extraordinary. It's a passage in all in italics. Do you know why it was put in italics, that whole passage? This whole passage.
By all means,
Yeah.
what is italics?
In indented scripture, look here. If you see the difference. It's highlighted.
Why was it that way, Ratso?
I mean, why was it? So it's stream of consciousness. What it feels, I mean, it feels like you're talking. You're on a long, long rant.
Yeah, that's what I do, right, baby? Because when I'm angry with my wife, I'm not even angry. I'm just talking. I'm just ranting.
Yeah, but let me.
I don't want to clean up this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to the store and buy this and that. Goddamn, come cook food now. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'll read a few passages very quickly. I hate myself sometimes. I feel like I don't deserve anything. Sometimes I just fantasize about blowing at somebody's brains out so I can go to prison for the rest of my life. Working on this book makes me think that my whole life has been a joke. I'm a dark and jaded motherfucker. I hate living like I told you, I hate living like a peasant now. I don't know if I'll survive to the next day. I might just say fuck it and jump and leave. Sometimes I can't sleep, and then you say I'm a waste. The only thing I did was fight, fuck, and bring in the kids. My baseline normal is to destroy myself. I read that already. And then you say, and I still hang in the ghetto. I'm a ghetto rug rat. Sometimes I look over at Farid and say, who are we, Farid, when we go to a yacht? And why don't we go on a yacht in Saint-Tropez? Why are we with these broken niggers? Because they broke-assed niggers are our people. They're struggling day and night. I love those rotten, dirty motherfuckers, even though I can't trust them as far as I can throw them. I can take anything. I think about Nietzsche a lot. I know what the overman is. I know I can endure without killing anybody because I'm always close. Some people don't have any decency or respect. When we're out and we see a guy like that, I'm thinking, I wish we could say something. He would say something to my wife. I'd blow his brains out. Those people are out there, but I've got to stop thinking that way. I'm trying to restrain that, to be the new guy. But how much of my balls do I have to cut off to be this new guy? Quite a passage.
You know, that's just when I need a hug from my wife every now and then. I just really need a hug from my wife. That's when I'm trying to scare her into giving me a hug or something. I don't know. Because sometimes she's just with the kids too damn long, and I just need a hug, a kiss sometimes, and I got to rant and rave, and I'm sorry, baby, I love you. Oh, God.
She's here. Your mother-in-law is here.
Yeah. That's
one
awesome.
of your kids is here.
Two of my kids.
One is sleeping, one is here. Now let's finish with you reading something.
Oh, God, okay.
It's short. Here it is.
What do you want me to read to?
I want you to read from here to here.
That's a lot of shit.
It's less than I intended to have you read, so okay. I think It's a good one to
All right,
end
I think
on.
I read better than you. I can't believe I let you do
You
this.
think you read better than I do?
Well, in English I do.
I think in English
Yeah.
you do read better than I do. Okay.
I've always sought comfort from my pigeons, no matter where I live. I always have them, and I've collected special breeds of pigeons. They're called roller pigeons. Sir Anthony Hopkins played Hannibal Lecter. In that great movie, he talked about them. Do you know that a roller pigeon is? You know what a roller pigeon is, Barney? They climb high and fast, and they roll over and fall just as fast towards the earth. There are shallow rollers and there are deep rollers. You can breed two deep rollers, or the young roller will roll all the way down and hit and die. Okay, next passage, guys. All right. It is no surprise that I have an affinity for rollers. It is really something to watch them fly higher, and then all the other birds. They fly higher than all the other birds, way up on the top of the sky, and way in the clouds, and they just roll and roll and roll down. And if they're lucky, they pull out in time before they crash and head first into the ground. Rollers who are the offspring of two pairs of deep rollers can do that. They roll so fast that they create a suction, and they can't open their wings. And if they explode on impact, it looks horrific to us. But if we put ourselves into the heart of that bird, there's nothing like that feeling, plummeting down and rolling. It is a smorgasbord of endurance and endorphins, and a dopamine and adrenaline. Wow, that was a good word. Okay, and a little like snorting coke and drinking Hennessy while being hooked up in the morphine drip. Both of my parents were deep rollers. I was bred to climb high and high into the sky and tumble down. I am truly grateful that I found my wings before I hit the ground.
Mike Tyson.